So for my workout plan for my client Jennifer, I kind of went through a full 7 day program. Obviously, it's not a full 7 days of working out. It's just 7 days of staying active, doing certain things to better yourself mentally, physically, and so she can reach her goals. Obviously, her goals from the beginning of this whole summer were to lose weight. She obviously picked a certain number of pounds she wanted to lose by the end of the summer, so it was a specific goal. And then she also wants to get back to running. She used to run 5 miles every day, so she wants to be able to get back to that. And at the same time, keeping those two goals in mind, she wants to be able to feel good about herself again and get back to the point when she was running those 5 miles. She wants to get back to the point of feeling that way that she did. So I kind of did a 5 day program for her. It obviously Mondays through Fridays a little bit different than Saturdays and Sundays. um, so each day kind of starts off the same. So I started her off with foam rolling. I showed her a foam rolling routine, and then it goes into like a warm up and an activation kind of section, just to obviously get her blood flowing and get her muscles warmed up and stuff activated. Um, so basically, it's the same thing pretty much every day for those warm up and activation drills. So there's some static stretching, and then there's a little bit of activation with some hip lifts and stuff just to get our muscles activated and ready to work out. And then right after that, I put a section for a dynamic warm up, and that dynamic warm up's the same every single day, so it's not changing. So it's pretty easy for her to understand and get into a routine of learning it. So I just made it a small one just so it wouldn't be something too difficult. So that consisted of knee hugs, leg cradles, quad pulls, SLDLs, high knees, and then it ends with butt kicks, just to kind of get her heart rate up, more of a high intensity kind of thing compared to the static stretching. So then after that, it moves into a lift. Obviously, each day is a different lift. So Monday, for example, it starts off with like alternating lunges, then goes into a dead bug, then SLDL, and we got some plank reaches, and then a dumbbell row, and then the final exercise is a physio ball rollout. So I have 3 sets of those, different numbers for each exercise. I'm not going to go through each day, but that's pretty much how it's structured for each day, the lift. And then after the lift, there's some kind of a conditioning portion. So again, Monday, for example, I have a 1 mile run, and she should do that as fast as possible, just to kind of get her burning some calories, getting to be able to lose that weight, and still getting her conditioning up, so she's able to run, eventually those 5 miles, and she'll build up week by week. And then after that run, I have kind of a cool down portion, so it's basically the same thing as like the warm up minus the dynamic stuff. So it's more of just the static stretching things. So for that, I just have some 5 and 6 point rockers, just like a wall quad stretch, wall hip stretch, some 90-90 rotations, and then foam rolling is there as well. And then I put a little note for any other stretches needed. So that's kind of where I come in. If she, is feeling, oh, I need to stretch out my hamstring one day, she could ask me what stretches I can do for that. So that's kind of how I broke that up day by day. And so it's just another way for me to stay involved as well. So Monday through Friday is more of a warm-up activation, and there's a dynamic warm-up, and there's the lift portion, then the conditioning, and then the cool-down and stretching part. Saturday, Sunday is a little bit different. So for Saturday, I have her just doing the same warm-up activation drills, dynamic warm-up, and then the only really lift I guess she's doing would be a 2 mile run. So that I had it set as a goal of under 22 minutes. She wants to get back to running up to 5 miles, maybe even more, and she wants to run those in a quick pace. Obviously, she doesn't want to take all day running 5 miles. So as the time progresses and the program goes on, I'll obviously bump up the number of miles and then kind of decrease the times a little bit to, obviously it's not going to stay 2 miles in less than 22 minutes the whole entire program. So maybe I'll drop, 2 miles in under 20 minutes and then eventually drop it down, or move it up to 3 miles, less than 30 minutes. It kind of just varies depending on where she's at in the program, how her body's feeling and stuff. And then after that 2 mile run, Obviously, we have the cool down again, so again, it's the same stretches that we've been doing the whole time. And then again, foam rolling, and then if she needs any other stretches, she'll ask me, or I'll ask her how she's feeling. Is there anything you need to be stretched? Just kind of stuff like that. So I'm staying in touch with her and staying involved with the whole program. And then Sunday is completely different than any other day. So it's really just kind of a recovery day. I think it's pretty important not to just completely take a day off. Obviously, your body needs rest and stuff, but I think stretching can be pretty beneficial to your body, and she'll be able to reach her goals, I think, faster as long as, she sticks to the plan. So for Sunday, I don't even have a dynamic warm or anything. It's just kind of a stretch, whatever she needs, whatever she's feeling kind of tight. So I just gave her like a baseline. So there's, again, 5 and 6 point rockers. Then there's 90-90 stretch, and then there's 90-90 rotations. Then there's some hamstring stretches, and then there's quad stretches, and again, foam rolling. So obviously, she's my mom, my client, so we do have a pool at home, so I put in there to get in the pool and just kind of recover a little bit, relax the muscles, and kind of just chill out for the day. But still keep in mind you do have goals, and obviously, it's not a training day, but it still is a recovery day and a stretching day. So it's pretty important to keep that in the back of her mind throughout the entire thing, just because you don't want to completely neglect a day. If you take one day off and you completely throw away the rest of the week, it's kind of contradicting to itself. So it's important to just stay on top of things. It's obviously not a huge lift, but I think it's important just to stay in the routine and get in your mind that it is a routine. You need to stick to it if you want to be successful within your program. So yeah, so that was pretty much the program that I designed. Obviously, each day is a little bit different. I didn't do, one day's fully a leg day and one day's fully an arm day. I did kind of, I wouldn't call it a mix, but I think it's more of like an emphasis on. So Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays kind of have more of a focus on your legs, but not completely neglecting your arms and your core and stuff. So, as I said before, Monday is kind of like a leg day, but it still has aspects of the core as well as some like arm workouts and stuff, because, obviously each day doesn't have to be a full leg day, full arm day. I think it's pretty important for overall development to kind of look at each thing and focus more on one thing, but not completely neglect the others. I think just from my past experience, that kind of hurts a little bit more than it helps. So I kind of tried to incorporate that here. So Tuesdays is kind of more of a full body, but with more of an emphasis on the arms and core. There's obviously not as many leg exercises. You kind of want to give your body a break, obviously. So that's what I kind of did for Tuesday, Thursdays. Then obviously Saturday, Sundays are different. And then as far as conditioning goes, I put it as Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays are going to be more of the running days. And then obviously Saturday is a little bit different, but so Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays are the running days. Monday's the 1 mile run as fast as possible. Wednesdays I had a 1.5 mile run in less than 16 minutes. That's again to try to push herself and get to that goal that she wants to get back to. And then Thursdays I just put a 2 mile run. So there's no time limit on that. That's just kind of, so she doesn't feel as stressed out, pushing herself, oh, I have to beat this time. She'll be able to kind of pace herself a little bit more. And if, I told her if she is feeling a little bit better, she can go more than 2 miles, or if maybe she's not feeling it that day, just do the 2 miles a little bit slower than she would normally do. Just so, she doesn't kill herself too much, obviously. And then for Tuesdays and Thursdays, I don't know, came up with a different kind of conditioning. So when I used to work out, every group would do it. I used to work out at Mike Boyle Strength and Conditioning, so every group would do it. Adult groups, middle school groups, high school groups, no matter what sport you played, we used to do slide boards, because it's a conditioning aspect along with kind of a leg workout. So I have a slide board down in my basement, so I threw that on there just as something different. Doing the same conditioning all the time gets kind of boring, and you get kind of sick of it. And it's kind of a fun thing, especially if you're not a person that skates all the time or does anything like that, it's a switch up that, I think she'll enjoy, and she's really never done it before, so it'll be something new for her. It'll get her to step out of her comfort zone a little bit and see that, I can push myself while doing something I'm not comfortable with. So I think that was important physically as well as mentally to overcome, challenges that she's going through, and to prove to her that, this program is worth it and she can buy into it. So I wasn't going to show, every single exercise on here right now, but I was just going to pick one of the major ones, and kind of show how I would coach it, what cues I would use and stuff. Just obviously I would do that for each exercise with my client, but just for the video, I'm just going to pick one from each day. So I'm going to show an SLDL, a half kneeling dumbbell overhead press, an RFE squat, a straight leg sit up, and then a back squat. So just kind of how I would coach those, what cues I would use, stuff like that. I picked one Monday through Friday, just kind of the major thing that we're focusing on. So those are really what I picked to explain today. So for the SLDL, I would obviously have her hold the weight in her right hand, just to start. And I would have her bend her knee, and then we're just going to hinge forward and come back up. So one thing that I would say would just be whatever foot's on the floor, keep the weight in the opposite hand. We're going to start off light just at the beginning, just so you get the feel of it, and then we'll work our way up. So again, we'll keep your shoulder back. One thing that I learned in the past would be pretend you're keeping a pencil in your armpit. You obviously don't want to let your shoulder fall forward. So kind of pretend you're keeping a pencil there. Keep a slight bend in the knee, and obviously try your best to keep your back flat the whole time. Keep your toes pointed at the ground. You don't want your toe when you come up to come out like that. Obviously is not great for your hips, as well as your knees. So again, keep a pencil under your armpit. Bend your knees slightly. Keep your toes pointed at the ground. I think it's easier just to find one spot on the floor and focus on that. Then just kind of hinge down and come back up. And then we'll go 8 of those on each side, 8 to 10 depending on kind of the week that we're in and kind of the progress we're making. So next is the half kneeling dumbbell overhead press. Again, I would have Jennifer grab a dumbbell, obviously a lighter weight again, so we'll start off lighter and then work our way up to either more reps or a heavier weight. So for this, again, I would say whatever hand the weight is in, keep that knee on the ground. So kind of like a straight line, it's easy to think about. So it's half kneeling, obviously, so one knee would be up. So we're just going to put one knee. Make sure you keep your back toe tucked, front foot flat on the ground. Obviously, again, the weight would be in this arm. One thing to keep in mind would be not to flare your ribs out. So if you start going like this, obviously it's not the greatest. It's partially your core as well. So keep your ribs tucked, core nice and tight. Again, keep your shoulder. You don't want it to come out way in front of you, kind of back at a relaxed position. So again, the weight would be in this arm. And all you're going to do is press straight up and then back down. Straight up and then back down. And then again, switch sides, so you would have to switch legs. Keep the back toe tucked. Front foot flat on the ground. Weight would be on this side. One thing that might be a little bit easier is if you keep your hand without the weight on your stomach, just to make sure you're not flaring your ribs out. And then again, just pressing up, coming back down. Up and back down. So for an RFE squat, I have that on Wednesday for my client. I think it's something that can be pretty kind of tricky at first, but I think it's really beneficial with stability, and it's a great leg exercise. So I think it would be pretty beneficial to my client. So I'll explain it and then I'll demonstrate it. So not sure if you'll be able to hear me. So you obviously rear foot elevated means one foot is up. If she's struggling with that a little bit, I would kind of start it off with just a split squat to see where she's at, so she can kind of feel her balance, get used to being basically on one leg. It's more of a unstable position, so just a little bit getting used to. For the rear foot elevated, you'll obviously have one foot up. I find it a lot easier if you start down on the ground. To start, we probably won't go with a weight, and if we do, it might be like 5 to 10 pounds. But if you were holding a weight, you could either do it with 2 dumbbells or 1. For my client, we'll probably just do 1 just because of the limited access to the weight. So for the goblet style, it would be you would just hold the weight right here, nice and tight to your chest. Once you get kind of farther out, you get more unstable and shaky with it. So I think it's important, again, to stay nice and tight to your chest. Then, again, start down on the ground, and then just no need to move forward, backwards. Your body will automatically take you in the right direction. You don't really have to think about it. So you kind of just think of it like a plane, I guess, taking off, like gradual incline. It's not straight up, not straight back. It's just pretty easy once you get it, but for the most part, it just takes a lot of practice. So again, you'll have your foot up on the bench. You'll be holding the weight. Kind of figure out where your best footing is. You might have to scoot back and forth, move your foot closer, further back. Depends. So obviously, again, just hold the weight, and we're just going to come down and up. Get as low as you can, down and up. So again, it's just more of a stability thing. It gets kind of tough once you do get that rear foot elevated, but it's a great way to get that stability, make sure you're more stable, get better balance, and again, one-legged exercise, so it's more tension on the leg that's on the ground doing the exercise, so it's pretty beneficial for that. So the next exercise is straight leg sit-ups. I think people are pretty familiar with normal sit-ups and crunches, but this is a little bit of a different variation, straight-legged, so kind of more tension, I guess, and we're going to add a weight, again, for more tension. So right now, I'm just going to pretend that this water bottle is a weight. So you're going to start with your legs out in front of you. Again, not like a normal sit-up where you have the bent legs right out in front of you. And the whole time, you're going to be holding the weight with two hands. So you're going to start by laying down with the weight right out in front of you. And then you're just going to sit up, pretend you're putting your head through a window, and then back down. Up. And then the whole time, obviously, you don't want to have the weight right here. The only time the weight should really be in front of you is when you're going from the bottom up to the top. Again, head through window. That's kind of just for an emphasis on keeping your arms up and making sure you're not letting them slouch, because then that would kind of take away some tension. It would be a little bit easier. Obviously, if necessary, we could go down to no weight, or we can decrease the weight just until we get to that point where we can, go a little bit heavier and increase the tension on the core. So the last exercise is the back squat. So that's kind of the major exercise for Friday's workout. For the most part, I think a lot of people, again, have done back squats. I know for my client in particular, she's pretty new to back squats, so we're probably going to start off kind of light and then work our way up to adding weight, obviously. So I think for the first week or so, it'll probably just be getting the technique down, the steps down, where to, keep your feet, arms, everything stationed, and, so you're effectively doing it. So obviously, we would have a barbell, have a squat rack downstairs. So for the purpose of that, obviously it'll be easier once I have my client and she'll be down with me, and I'll be able to, hands-on kind of move your arms out a little bit, move your feet here. But so for the back squat, I would tell her, step under the bar. So step, so the bar's on her back. You want your feet a little bit slightly wider than your hips. Obviously, if it's too narrow, kind of get a little unstable, a little wobbly. A little bit wider than hips length apart. And then again, you kind of want your arms in a kind of a W shape. You don't want it too close where you're kind of scrunched up. And if you're too far, it just gets kind of awkward and uncomfortable. Nobody wants that, obviously. So again, you'd be holding the bar. It's obviously not on your neck, so you're crushing your neck down, but kind of right above your shoulder blades on your back area. Obviously, you'll feel a little bit of tension. So all that she's going to do is pick up the bar, take a step back. Again, keep your legs at that nice shoulder, a little bit wider than shoulder length apart. And then you're just going to squat down and up. Again, I think it's pretty helpful to pick one spot on the floor and stick with it. When you're squatting, you don't want to pull your head up. That does some bad stuff to your back. We don't need that, obviously. We don't need more back problems, especially getting older. Definitely not a good thing to have. So again, I would keep one spot. Keep your eyes on one spot on the floor. Pick that spot, focus on it. Keep your eyes on it the whole time, and then back up. You don't want your back, obviously, to be rounded. If you go down and look like this, probably not the best. Kind of try to keep a flat back. And again, that's pretty helpful when you pick a spot on the floor, just to keep that same spot in your vision, and just know that your eyes are always going to be down. Once you start lifting your eyes up, that's when the bad things happen. That's when the injuries start to come. So again, picking that spot, focusing on it is going to be greatly beneficial for you.